the magnitude of the tragedy is being felt not just in Bangladesh, but here in Canada as well. Tariq Saeed is a city councillor in Penticton, BC, who is connected to the Bangladeshi community here in Canada. He also has a very close tie to the community in Dhaka affected by this tragedy. So we've reached him now in Penticton, BC. Tariq, thank you for making the time for us. You grew up just a kilometer away from where the attack happened, and you came here when you were 16. What was going through your mind when you heard about the attack?
It was shocking, quite honestly. And one thing we need to reflect that Bangladesh in 2012 was ranked as the 11th most happiest country in the world. So it's unfortunate that incidents like this had to happen in Bangladesh, especially on a day when it was Canada Day in Canada.
Right, so you're having a sense of celebration here in your new home, but back home with your friends and family back there, they're having to deal with this incredibly scary scene. Now, I understand you still have friends and family, including your parents, who were luckily out of the country during the attack. So what are you hearing from those who were there, your community back in Dhaka? How are they all responding to this attack?
Well, one of the distinctive features, I would say, for our country is the genuine welcomeness that we give to our foreign visitors. And any expatriates living there in Dhaka will tell you that they're always treated with the deepest respect and love. So the anxiety over there, especially within the younger generation, is quite difficult right now, and it is premature to give the overall temperature. But as a Bangladeshi Canadian, I would say that our country will be more inclusive, receptive, and caring towards our guests.
Now, you grew up in that neighborhood that we've been talking about for the past couple of days, the Gulshan area. Lots of embassies are there. It seems to be an affluent area. How has it changed over the years since you've been there?
It has changed well in a positive way because back in the days, I'm going back to the late 80s, I remember riding my bike around with a Walkman and listening to Vanilla Ice riding around the block, and it was amazing and it was so welcoming and inclusive. And then now, even last year when I visited, I was riding around in an e-bike. People were friendly, people were awesome, and the expatriates there, they love our country. So at this moment it's a tragedy, but I'm sure we will overcome it together.
Tariq, I want to talk to you about this unrest that we've seen unfolding over the past several months, at least, in Bangladesh. Targeted attacks against atheists, secularists, Hindus, Shias, members of other religious minority communities, and now this very devastating attack at the restaurant. Is there a sense of fear growing within that community, of a larger sense of terrorism growing in Bangladesh?
I wouldn't label it as terrorism at this point because we don't really know the facts. But one thing, Natasha, we need to reflect that religious devotion is never the motivation for violence. That is not true. These attackers were actually educated in English medium schools, and some of them were even went to higher education abroad. I would say that at the end of the day, it boils down to the mental instability of these personalities that made them do what they did.
Talk to me, as you are now a city councillor in British Columbia, you are part of the Canadian community now. How is the Bangladeshi community here in Canada responding to what they're seeing in their country of origin?
It's the same everywhere, Natasha, whether I speak to the individuals in Bangladesh or in Gulshan, where we grew up together, and where some of the friends who went to the same schools as they did, and some of them are actually here in Canada now. The feeling is consistent as to how we feel. That Bangladesh is like, we're so welcoming to the expatriates. It's unbelievable that they had to target these individuals. It's unfortunate.
Incredibly unfortunate, and it turned deadly. Tariq, thank you for making the time for us today.
You're very welcome, Natasha.
Tariq Saeed is a city councillor in Penticton, BC, who grew up in Dhaka.